Hello and welcome to my channel. Today's video we are going to be making just a little base for your Amigurumi dolls. In this video I'm going to be making a square base and drilling the hole so we can add a dowel. You can use any scrap piece of wood or other type of material that you feel might work for this. Okay. Let's get started. I'm going to be making my doll stand from scratch using a scrap piece of 1x6. And depending on which style of doll stand you are making today, you will need some combination of these items shown. Plus I'll be using a miter saw. If you don't have any of the tools I'll be using today, you can also purchase these little rounds that come 5 in a pack. I would double them though. I would glue them together so they're a little thicker. And then you can also get square ones. Again, I would double those so that your dowel will hold tighter. And then I like these little Chinese chopsticks as a dowel, but you can also purchase these cheap little barbecue skewers at the dollar store. And if you don't have a drill, I'm going to show you a little trick with a screw and a screwdriver, because I'm sure we all have these, to make our little hole. Just don't tell any pre-drillers that that's how you did it. And if you want to get really fancy, my husband made me these cool little round ones. Just with one of these hole saw sets, the biggest one in this, if you can see that, 5 inches, 127 millimeters. And the nice thing about these is it made the hole perfectly centered, exactly the same size as I needed it. Now, if you are new to buying lumber, if you're gonna go in and ask for a 1x6, don't be surprised when you get home and this isn't actually 1x6. Dimensional lumber, for some reason, is off by a little bit. So this is actually 3/4 of an inch instead of an inch. And it is 5.5 inches instead of 6 inches. I'm just gonna be making little squares today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure across, and I already know it's 5.5 inches. So I'm going to start on my straightest end. And I'm just going to mark 5.5 inches all the way down so I can make a couple. So 5.5 plus another 5.5 is 11, plus another 5.5 is 16.5. plus another 5.5 is 22. And now I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom. If you're going for perfection, this will take a tiny little amount on your cut line, but I'm not worried about it. So 5.5, 11, 16.5, and 22. And keep on going if you have a longer piece of wood. I must have forgot to hit record when I drew my lines, so I just grabbed a similar piece of plywood. And so all you're going to do is grab your straight edge, put it where you marked your 2 dots, and then just draw your line, and do that for each section that you marked off. Just a quick little warning before we get going. While you're lining up your lines, make sure you keep any cords, hands, hair, loose clothing away from your cutting blade. When you get to the end, flip it around so that we can hold on to that end. we have a couple little bases that we're going to be using now. Now we're going to have to find our center. So I am just going to take my straight edge and I'm going to go from corner to corner and then just draw a little line approximately in the center, and then do the same thing for the other side. One corner to the other corner and draw your little line, and then at that where that X meets in the center is where you're going to want to put your drill. So you're going to grab your drill, and I'm going to go on a scrap piece of wood because we don't want to put any holes in the deck here. Then you're just going to go down right where that center X meets and drill right down. And there you've got your little hole for your dowel. And then you're just going to do the exact same thing for all the other pieces. And now before you move on, you just might want to check that all your dowels fit in those holes. So that one's good. You might want to erase all your little pencil marks, and then maybe grab your sandpaper and give those a little sand on the edges. So there's just a quick little sanding. You'll want to do a much better job than that. Now, if you don't have a drill, you can take a screw and a screwdriver. You're going to get that right in the center. And then you want to screw a little hole in there. But you want to be very careful that you don't crack your wood. It's not pretty, but it will work. And then if you want, you can just paint them. If you like them like this, you'll just stick your dowel in and you're ready to put your doll on your stand. And then to make him a little stand, you're just going to stick your pointy end of your dowel up inside. You may have to go along your stitches between your stuffing and your yarn. Then you're going to stick that into the hole, and now your little guy is standing on his little stand. While we were videoing the single base for a doll stand, I also took a 2x4 and drilled holes in that and put dowels in, and then if you have a little collection, you can make a nice long one so they can all stand together. There is a free tutorial for everything pictured here except for the little Grinch, which will be coming up next, I believe. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please hit the subscribe button and click that bell. Not only does that help me out, but you'll also be notified every time I load a new video, as well as any likes, shares, and comments are always appreciated. And as always, take care, be safe, and happy crocheting.